welcome to my first ever knitting podcast. I've got a cup of Lidl's rooibos tea in my broken Le Creuset mug, feeling fancy tonight. But it's blue, which is on theme with my emotional support knitting. I've got back here, I'm doing yet another sock. So this podcast is sort of more of a long form place where I can just talk a bit more about how my made wardrobe is going. So if you don't know, I posted a video last week about why I'm going to try and make everything in my wardrobe by myself, as in like I've made it with my hands. So I'm starting from the bottom literally with socks and it's something that my socks always get holes in them, so the fact that they're already knitted, if I fix them there won't be that change in texture, because I think I really love nice textures being on my skin. And if I can knit them, I can knit stuff that I wouldn't be able to afford if I was buying that item, that garment outright. So that's a big focus for me. I am wearing something that I love to wear with a knit, but I'm just wearing it on its own. It's a black Uniqlo jumper. It buttons, which I love as well, so it's lovely. I've got a few items of clothing that I still will keep. I'm not going to wear everything knitted because I haven't seen many outfits, full outfits of knit that I've been like, yes, that's me, or yes, I really want to do that. So I've still got some like nice go-to blacks and stuff. And also this project's going to take probably like 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, many years. So we're going slow, literally slow fashion. So yeah, and I've got this that I made, this pillow I made with colour work. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube that I love, like how to take a pixelated image and turn it into that, which is basically what I did. On the back I used an 18 stitch repeat of a little like squiggle going up the back, and I'd love to do more, maybe something like that on a top at some point, maybe a jumper. Maybe this is like what I'm gonna knit in autumn, so I won't think about it until autumn. My current yarn choice, I've got the label here, it's West Yorkshire Spinners, this, and it's 75% wool, 25% nylon. Yeah, if you can see that. And I used this before. I have the sock back here actually. I don't know why they're just on my windowsill. So here's 2 pairs of socks. This is knitted in wood pigeon. My first pair was like a low rise sock. And my second pair, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a proper sock. Sort of like a crew length sock, I think. So this is the same as this blue yarn, but I think already between them, I knit this English style and this continental because I'm trying to knit quicker. Not to defeat the point of slow knitting, but I do love seeing an item come together quite quickly. What can I say? I'm not going to fight the fact that my brain has been socialised in a certain way. No, I'm not going to fight. I can't fight alone against society. Like, because I think so many things like this are like, there's one person knitting against affordable clothing, but we can all come together, like right here. This is my first pair of socks that I've done properly thinking this is my wardrobe. I've done a few pairs of socks before, but my first pair, I just threw them in the wash with everything else, didn't block them first, and it was knitted in an acrylic. So I'm not against acrylic. I've done a top for like £3 with Poundland yarn, and I love the colour. It's like pink, loads of different pinks in one thing, and then I ran out of that, and then I just used some scrap yarn, and it ended up being a fun top. It doesn't really fit my body though. I don't like how it fits, but it was fun to make because it was my first slip stitch project. So I knit my first socks in acrylic, and they felted on my feet because I just wore them without blocking them, which I accidentally did with this. You can see on the heel before I'd blocked them. And this one has been blocked, so you can see around the toe as well. And then this one has not been blocked, so you can kind of tell. Like, to be honest, I love the pre-blocked look a lot more. And I don't like the idea of blocking. I like the idea of knitting. I don't like the idea of sewing either. So yeah, I like knitting for knitting. But I have done some better stuff with mattress stitch recently, because I had my first commission that ended up falling through in November, but I was learning skills for that, so now I'm hyping up for my next commission, whenever that may be. But yeah, what went wrong with those socks was that I wore them straight to work. I was so proud of them, and I was knitting my next sock, so they're like, what are you knitting at work? I'm knitting a sock, look, it's also on my foot, and I could model that, which was fun. And it was really nice. It was quite soft to knit with. I think when knitting English, because things do fit so differently, feel so differently in the hand, depending on like how you knit and what you're knitting. It came out quite easy. I do sort of get a little bit of strain in my finger. My fingers get very clicky. Oh, there we go. And I knit right-handed even though I'm left-handed, so I don't know if that makes a difference for something, for anything. But with that, with these, it was very much, oh, what's his? I was like, oh no. I knit them up in maybe 5 days per pair, and that'd be nice to get down to like 4 days, so I could just do it for a present. I'm doing these as a present, but I don't have a deadline, so. And I'm also doing it while I'm waiting for my new yarn. I ordered some yarn for the first time to go with the pattern, so I'll talk about that later. If I took anything away from this project, it would be to always block before you wear, but also that it is really worth putting in the time to make that sock longer, because I do love this sock, but sort of like those ankle socks are like, or like millennial socks. Millennials, don't worry, I love you. But also, what? It's like a tiny little hole at the top of this that I'd never noticed. Oh my god, the moths are coming for me. But yeah, so they're all practice socks and they functionally work as socks. So I think also something that I took out of this project, that if there's a mistake, I probably won't be able to see it afterwards. That's sometimes true. But also that just go with it. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect, and I'd rather have a finished item. Something that I'm struggling with all my socks is when I pick up stitches on the left side of the heel, at the top there's always this little gap, and I don't really know what to do about it. I've picked up stitches in a different way and it still happened, like the hole was just slightly somewhere else. So I think that's going to be an ongoing thing. I could probably find a YouTube video on that, but I'm just going to go gung-ho and learn for myself. Why not make it harder when I could make it easier? So I am happy with them. I think they're fun. I think the self-striping yarn is definitely a talking point. I want to do more block colours, because this is like a choice. Like, if I want to wear them with anything that's not like long trousers, it's a choice to wear them, and I think I want to take less choice. I want less choices to make. I don't want decision paralysis. I'm sort of like in lots of areas of my life right now, either trying to delegate if I don't have to think about something, or how can I think about this in like, how can I be economical with my thinking? So I'm knitting for this is a family friend who's a Pisces. I'm also a Pisces, and she's always like, we're Piscean, we're fish, we love water. And this is her favorite, one of her favorite colors, this and magenta. So I'm going to do maybe a cardigan in magenta, because I've seen her wear something like that before, and I feel like I could make something slightly different but within her wardrobe that I wouldn't have to ask her too many questions about. But this, again, I absolutely love. If this neckline suited me, I'd be so happy. I love how it's striped quite irregularly. It's also like, you know those sports jumpers, like that will say like an American town across them, and then they'll be like, it's very collegiate, I guess, which I like. I think it's less busy on the eyes. I definitely like yarn. I love like statement knits, and one of the patterns I'll show later is a statement knit. But I also love things that are just very everyday and things that are just a bit more low-key. So I think with like second sock syndrome, I don't really get that. Like, I'm just excited because I can have one on my foot. What I don't like is that on the first sock you can kind of be like, I'm going to do the ribbing for 10 stitches or 15 stitches, and you're making it up and you can just go. And when you're doing the second sock, you always have to compare back to be like, have I done the same? I think when I measure how long the foot is, it's going to be difficult for these because I can't measure them on my own feet. Or I could do it with a tape measure, I guess. I guess I'm just measuring it, and I will start doing the toe after my little toe is covered, because my toes are quite like that shaped. So that's a really good marker for how much I need to do with the toe. So I think the only thing I don't like about a second sock is that you have to compare it, and comparisons are bad. But it's nice because I can have one on my foot, even though I don't want to warm it too much and then have the felting non-blocking issue happen. My favourite thing to do while I'm knitting is I was trying to not watch too much like knitting content before, because I'm like, I don't want to like, copy people, but then they're my own projects, so how like even if I did the same thing, it'd be your own experiences, so it's okay. But then I've recently gotten really into knitting YouTube, because I was like, I don't want to watch it, I don't want to like, oh my goodness, and I'm like, no, if I want to make that content, I should probably have a little more, because I've been watching it for maybe like 6 months, but I've been doing some more serious watching, and it's so fun to knit, or someone's knitting there just yapping about their life, and I'm like la 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 la, because you can come like in and out of it as well. I think some TV shows require too much, which actually in my other life I'm a writer, and in some like the writing courses I've done and people I've worked with in TV, they're like, you need to make your TV show more second screen, because people are like on their phones and your TV show is the second screen, which is crazy to see how the industry is going that way. But I think some vloggy type things are great for that. That's like ideal. I've also been watching, I recently got Apple TV. I've got it for 3 months for £2.99 a month, and then it goes up to like £9 a $8.99 a month. But I'm like, well, it's $2.99, I'm going to try and watch everything. So I've wanted to watch Ted Lasso forever. I'm like 2 episodes in for that. That's really funny. And what have I watched? Palm Royale. So I've been watching that. A lot of sort of like random YouTube videos of like random little interests that I have, and just keeping up to date with what's going on in all the worlds of YouTube, which is why I love it. But then sometimes when you've got those sort of like short, lots of 20-minute or 10-minute videos, there's so many concepts covered that like binging a TV show is the answer when you're on a project, for me anyway. I'd say my tension on this new sock, now that I'm doing it continental, is a little bit more irregular, but I'm hoping with blocking that'll be fine. But also when I'm blocking it, I actually do need to do a deep dive into how to block properly. I just don't enjoy it. I know maybe I'm not meant to, but either I'm going to chuck it in hand wash at 30 degrees in the laundry, and then maybe a spin cycle. Apparently that's like not great. And then I just leave it out to dry, like flat. So I've seen a lot of knitted socks. I don't know why mine don't do this. Maybe it's because I haven't blocked them correctly. So mine falls like sideways, sort of like a classic sock shape, but I've seen so many that are like flat with like front and back like that. And I don't really know what happens to the heel at that point. Maybe it folds, but that doesn't make sense to me. Also, this yarn smells amazing, so I'm hoping it keeps the sort of like very fresh, farmy, outdoor vibe. But yeah, my tension's definitely different. I've knit a pair of socks in between these, and I ran out of yarn quite early on into the second sock, because I need weighing scales basically, because I heard this trick: if you weigh your ball of yarn and then you halve it, and then you'll know, like you can weigh it to see how much yarn you have left or how much you need for, if you're a third of the way through the project and you're more than a third of the way through your yarn, there might be a problem. There will be a problem. So I need to buy weighing scales at some point. But yeah, I think with the tension, the way I'm knitting them slightly differently, and the 2 different colours make the socks very unique. But what I managed to do, because it was like sort of self-changing yarn as well, one of them's all blue and white, like baby blue and white and cream. The other one is baby blue top, and then from the heel it goes just block purple, which I love. I want more block colours. And then I had a tiny bit left that I saved over. I was going to save it for the toe, but I only did 2 rounds, so it looks very, again, collegiate, which I like. I love knits that look quite modern, which again, foreshadowing, what pattern have I picked? So let's talk about the 2 next things I'm going to make. So I've got the yarn from Hobby, and it's being shipped over to the UK as we speak. I got free shipping because I spent over £15, which was great. My next 2 knits, I want to do something a bit more conventional. So I think my tendency is to just go off and do something very left field, which is fun. Always think outside the box, whatever. But then it's sort of like, you need to do that maybe in one way and then still follow some set patterns to make something that stands out in one way rather than in all ways. Because I think then I just sort of get really odd things. Like I've got my scrap yarn art teacher crazy thing, but I don't really wear it because it's a little bit much. And even though that's fun, I want to get a lot of function out of it, and it's not very functional. Anyway, I've been inspired by other knits on YouTube, and I've been watching a lot of like controversial takes, which my controversial take is that like those videos are like great they're good for like getting views, I guess, and getting people to your channel, but it just takes like what is like a fun and friendly atmosphere and makes it not like less friendly, but just a bit more like, oh. So I don't really like those videos. But I saw one like, don't show me another mohair thing that you've knit. I've never knit with mohair. I was in a shopping mall and they had a John Lewis, and I went to the haberdashery and I had a look, that's where I got that yarn, and it was £9, it was £8.55 for the ball, but the other one I got was £9.50, so around £9 a ball, and for me they made 2 pairs of socks. So that's like £5 per pair of socks, which is, that's not great, but it's not terrible. But yeah, I was looking at their yarn and I found a mohair in like a white, off-white cream colour, and then also a matching colour in like a normal, just sort of like a DK weight thread, and I'd love to pair them together and make something really classically YouTube. Because what's wrong with that? Like I do still like want to buy into maybe like longer trends, but something that's going to be like, I was alive in 2025 and this is what I've got to show for it, rather than complete slow fashion and like classic charms. Like I do want to buy into stuff, and I think if I'm making it by myself, if I'm getting artistically inspired, but I'm using those sort of like foundational tools of like what's trendy this year and taking inspiration, again I'm sort of delegating some of the thinking to someone else so I can focus on being creative in a very specific way, which I think I could be more creative within that very specific parameter, hopefully. I'm gonna knit something with mohair. I've knit something, I can't remember if it's a mohair or not, but it's a funky pattern, it's a free pattern from Hobby. I can put a photo here. Editing me, please do that. And it's gonna go over, I've got this Urban Outfitters sort of tank top, crop top that I love to wear, and I'm just gonna wear that on top, and then sort of like a crop top, and then a jumper to go over the top. So it's more, it's very, what is it? It's very light, it's very summer, it's very layerable, so I could wear it under this. I could even wear it over this, that'd be quite cool, and it's in the colour cappuccino. Because I love my brown is my favourite colour at the moment, and brown and pink, I just love that combo, even though I've been known to style it not so well. I'm also like, channels that I'm still learning how my body and skin feels in different like yarns. I think, oh, there's been so many videos like against acrylic, and like I learned a lot through acrylic, but it is quite sweaty for me, I think. And I think if I'm going to spend the time and energy for stuff that's very similar in price, I think some of the cotton I found is actually a lot cheaper. Maybe. I'm thinking the ball is cheaper, but the yardage might be different, so it might not be overall. But as in like, it's not too ridiculous, I might go for that. And sort of like level up my wardrobe in that way. I think the mood board, if I'm thinking mood board wise, I'm thinking a lot of like the neutral palettes of like beige to brown, but more on the browns edges. I'm going a little bit further away from grey, even though like I think the best colours for my skin complexion are like navy blue and grey, and like a grey marl. I love those very much, but I don't need to knit anything in them. I think that's more like a purchase of like a pre-made item, and then I can knit something to go with it. And silhouettes, I'm 6 foot, so I want to experiment with my silhouette in that way. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it, but maybe I think things that show the length of my leg, and then maybe shorter in the top half of me. Look good. But then also like a long trench coat type vibe I think looks quite good. I need to get one of those. As I was mentioning, as I have been providing breadcrumbs for, I bought my first pattern, and I bought yarn corresponding to what that pattern needed for the first time, which was really fun. I went for a 4-ply cotton. I was gonna go, which is fingering weight. I was gonna go for 2 or 3-ply, but then I was like doing some research, and apparently it's not gonna affect how light it is too much. Like, I'm making it for summer in Britain, so we don't need, I mean, this week I can smell the summer, even though it's like April 30th when I'm recording, and I can smell someone's had a barbecue, and that sort of, that summer smell that you get in the evenings, which I love. So I picked a pattern from Lydia Morrow, who I love. Instagram account was really cool to look through. I found it on Ravelry because I'm like, I need to get over my Ravelry fear. I think it's actually a more functional website than I gave it credit for originally, but I love how there's so many ways to style this pattern to your body. Like, you can do straight down, or give some hip shaping or some bust shaping. So that was like really important for me when looking at the pattern, because I want something that fits my specific body and I can take in or make bigger when need be. And it was really easy to measure myself, and it just felt, because the pattern did that, I was like, I feel good about measuring myself. It felt very like just felt like something, it felt like nothing, which I think unemotional, that's, I like. So I got this pattern, and I don't know what I'm going to embroider across it. I do prefer ones that are when you do the colour work yourself, but I think this is going to be something new. There's also a zip in it, which I love. I love a quarter zip, especially a hoodie. I'm going to make it in the version that goes down to the elbow, because I think that's cute. And I also love how when modelling the top, it's like one, like the vest top and the short sleeve one. That's really inventive. So yeah, that's the first pattern I bought. And also, so there's many different sizes, which is great. And also you can get 33% off for low income, and also 50% off for low income. So I thought that was great, how there's not just one but 2 different ways, and it's based on an honour scheme. So I think that's just something lovely within the knitting community that can continue. So thank you, Lydia. I picked this pattern because I love the vintage look. I love the colours. I'm going for colours based on basically what the pattern was. I looked at loads of Ravelry options, and people had some really funky ones, and sort of like used different, like used symbolism within the colours, like using like different pride flags within the block colours, which was really cool. I think buying a pattern made me feel more established, but also I'm gonna go to so many of my free patterns and watching YouTube tutorials, because I've got a cardigan that I do need to finish as well. I made it in black with, I used the self striping yarn for like a block, and then it was black again. So I think maybe I'll do it a little bit differently next time, because it's just sort of like black, colours black, and do the arms on that, then that'll be done. And that'll be fun. But then again, that's all acrylic. I think maybe the colour might be not acrylic, so that's an interesting choice that I made. I think I would try and knit all the same or very similar fibres for future projects. I'm excited to learn how to do the zips and also German short rows. I've only heard about them, I don't even know what they are, so I'll find out. And I think I'm gonna follow the pattern as much as possible. I'll take liberties if I make a mistake and I don't know what to do, and try and fix it. I think that's true craftsmanship. Like, if I've made a mistake and it's a bit messy, if I can fix it, it's okay. That's part of it as well. And also, no one else can see your mistakes, really. And if they can, it's a statement. It's a statement. I'll have 2 new pieces for my me-made wardrobe, and I can take some photos of them. I'm really excited. I just want to document. Like, I want to learn more about videography through this as well, because as I say, I'm a scriptwriter. Videography would be a really good way of like upskilling, so I can get more work there. That would be lovely. My dream. And also learning how to take photos a bit more, because yeah, as I said, I want to document being in my 20s, in the 20s. That's cool. That just makes my brain like, I love it. ASMR of my cheekbone. Does this fit into a wider shift in my life? I don't know. I've always lived in London, and I'm really keen on moving to the countryside. I would love that, and get a dog. I think I just want a slower pace. Like, my room now, the way I've got it, got sort of like these orangey lights I love, and sort of minimal, fairly minimal. Like, I've got a wooden desk, some white IKEA stuff around, and that's sort of like more, I guess, not Scandinavian. It's like but dry Scandinavian, what I think it is, and I've never done any research. Although I have been to Sweden once on a school trip, and also Finland on a school trip, which I feel like are rare places to go on school trips, so I have been. I want stuff that's going to fit my body and going to feel really good, because I think as a tall woman with like, I mean everyone's got like stuff going on with their body like that doesn't fit the norm, so if we can all take a bit more power back, like maybe they did in the olden days, then we could all feel more in control of what we wear, how we feel, in a good way, in a not too much control way. And yeah, this is me implementing some soft life into my London schedule. I think I would love to be able to knit a dress one day. I think if this Lydia Morrow pattern shaping goes well, I'll learn a lot from that, of how to shape things to my body. And then I'd love like a long maxi dress, that'd be so much fun. And like maybe a lilac, like a grey lilac, or maybe more of a statement colour, but that's kind of a statement piece anyway, so maybe it doesn't need to be statement colour as well. Anyway, I'm going on Pinterest, my taste is developing as well. I'm finding that I know what I like more. Whereas like maybe even a month ago, a couple months ago, I didn't really know what I wanted. I think going back to basics, it's okay to wear black, it's okay to wear, it doesn't mean that you cannot wear any other colour. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that. So my favourite knitting moment of this week was knitting in two parks. I was meeting a friend yesterday, and before we met up, I left 10 minutes early so I could knit in the park for 10 minutes. And it really made my day better. And I just think I love taking photos of like my knitting and then like the backdrop with the greenery behind it. Like it's so lush, it's so lush. I'm gonna be knitting for the rest of the night, watching YouTube, and also I need to start Severance while I've got Apple TV. My friends did an Apple TV show. I need to find out which one. Because when I heard Apple TV, I just switched off because I was like, I don't have that, but now I do, I need to get all these streaming services to keep up with what my really cool friends are doing. I've already got Prime, which is great, that covers the other two. Anyway, is anyone currently making socks? Because socks are highly debated about, because people are like, they like their, I'm wearing some white socks right now. I can't stretch that. And has anyone had a moment recently where they're like for me, my like philosophy of knitting changed a bit when I realised like, just make a mistake, it's fine. Because sometimes when I take out stitches and I put them back on, the way I've taken them out, I take it out wrong, I think, because the loop is sort of twisted, so it's gonna look different, but that's okay, that's okay, yeah. So if anyone's had any revelations like that, that'd be cool to know. Anyway, welcome, thank you for listening to my first ever knitting podcast. I will be putting them out probably like every few weeks or so, maybe every month, to keep up with where I am with my new made wardrobe overall. But you can expect some more project vlogs, some of my inspirations for summer. I want to do that next. But also like realistic, I'm going to do like realistic expectations for summer, because I'm seeing all these videos of like 25 things I'm going to knit in summer. I'm not going to set myself up to fail. I've already got my booklet. This was in my background today. A London girl of the 1880s. That is so cool, because I'm a London girl 140 years later. And also I love reading things specifically. I've read one other thing, I read something from the 1940s and like wartime Britain, and just hearing about how much of the culture has actually stayed pretty much the same. And in other ways it changed so much, but like they were just saying stuff like, yeah, you'd hear that now. I don't know why in my head I think it's a completely different time. It's not that far in the past, but yeah, that's what I'm reading. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. Come again soon, subscribe, like, all the good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.